take a deep breath with us, guys. One, take a deep breath in. Two, and three.
Still two.
Welcome to Real Talk with Casey and JoJo. What's up, Casey?
What up, JoJo?
We are getting real today. We are talking about infidelity. In case you guys have not seen our twin flame journey video, which we did, it was episode 3, right? I think it was episode 3. We talked about an entire journey, but the infidelity portion of it is so huge that we had to skip it and make an entire podcast on that subject alone. And you know, we're going to touch on a bunch of different things. I think this is why we have the table up today, right? So that we can fight, so that we're ready, because there's a lot of energy involved. And I think that while we talk about this, we're also healing in a way, because we are expressing things that have to do with our own journey as examples to help you better understand, and, you know, just to make everything kind of synchronized. What do you think?
Well, I want to add that thank you, Infidelity, for always being the gift that just keeps on giving. You just never know where it's going to turn up. You never know when it's going to come up. It can brighten your day. It can sour your day. It's like a fucking Sour Patch Kid. You never know what's going to happen. It's not Sour Patch Kids. It's
the sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But so to give you an example, I committed the act of infidelity with a female from Hialeah, Florida. Well, we're watching a show this afternoon, a baking show with engineers. I don't know the name of it. Do you know?
Baconeers.
It's on Netflix. Anyway, and there happens to be a girl from Hialeah, and Joanna's like, "Oh, she's getting eliminated," and I'm like,
it was more than that. It came up.
So long story short, guess what happened? She got eliminated. So Joanna's super happy to go.
It's funny how these things show up. They show up when we least expect it. And I think that's because it's mirroring to us what we have going on in our mind. Because for a long time, when I was, you know, when I when I did the act of infidelity, you know, it was popping all over the place in your mind as well. I mean, let me rephrase this. Because it was in your mind all the time, it was popping up everywhere in your reality. And so this happens a lot, but basically that just happened right before this. So that leads us right into this talk.
She's happy. She's feeling good.
Not really. I mean, we're going to get into some serious stuff. It's going to get deep. So yeah, why not have something that's like about that?
Well, and
happened to kind of spice it up.
The lesson is, I mean, you know, to give you a time frame of reference, this act happened 17 years ago or more, maybe. So, you know, when infidelity, if you haven't committed it, or maybe you're thinking about it, I don't know how that works, but actually I do.
You should.
You know, if you're thinking about it, just, you know,
just know that literally the consequences will come.
Yeah, man, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And it's interesting because I think it appears based on your own forgiveness of self and based on your own partner's forgiveness of you. But 17 years later, it still comes up, but we have fun with it and we laugh about it and we move on. Right. And that's the point. And that's where we are. And I think, you know, anyone can get there.
And in a way, it's a form of healing that we're able to talk about it, because we have all these suppressed feelings. And, you know, one of the things that we were talking about last week or just this week was that I was in the shower trying to kind of eliminate all the extra energy, the extra emotions that no longer serve me, and just have them go down the drain. And as I'm sitting there kind of scanning my body and scanning my thoughts, the thought of when I first found out that you had cheated on me, or when you told me, I basically, like, the emotion, the emotion, actually, let me just talk about that. So that's what led us to this. So, you know, I was in New York City and I was doing certification for TV and film, fashion and glamour makeup. And while I was up there, I was on the train, I was getting ready to walk home, and we're on the phone, and he tells me that he had cheated, and not just with one person, but with two. And told me the whole story. And I'm like, I want to hear the whole thing, etc. And I remember walking from the train station to the house, closed the bathroom door, and took a shower. And it was like, you know what it was like? It was like Bella. I always say this. It was like Bella in which one was it? When she's having the baby and she's going through the excruciating pain of becoming a vampire. And she, she's like yelling. And I mean, just that scene, I'm probably gonna put it up, but that's what it felt like. And I remember that I couldn't just, that was just a portion of the pain. I couldn't let it all out. And so I suppressed a lot of it. And it still comes up. And so I had to face that pain. And we were talking about it in the car. And this is when, you asked me, like, where did that pain come from? Right? Is that what you said? Or
Yeah, it was like, why did it hurt so bad? Because you cheated on me. No, let's go deeper.
right.
Why did me cheating on you hurt so bad? And eventually the answer was
um the feeling of not being good, like self-worth,
right.
of I'm not enough, or the fear of abandonment, like he's gonna leave me, I'm not good enough. Basically the three universal fears of
Yes.
I can't trust you, the trust is gone. In society they tell you, you know oh, or you make it a habit to, oh, I'm never going to hurt you. And so you believe that they're never going to hurt you, and you put them on a pedestal. And then when they do hurt you, because it's undeniable, like you're meant to go through pain in order to learn lessons, when you go through it, it's like you shatter a piece of you that believed that, oh my god, they would never hurt me. And that's a huge condition that we have to break, because
Right.
we are meant to kind of hurt each other in a sense.
Yeah, and I think the three universal fears you mentioned them: trust, abandonment, rejection, self worth. Right,
Right.
and the conversation that we're having is about, at the end of the day, what I did was hurtful. Of course, I did break those trust barriers, but ultimately, when you get to the core of it, it's my own fears within myself that the cheating on triggered, that now am not taking responsibility, and I'm putting it off on you, the person who did that to me, thereby releasing myself of the responsibility of the lesson. Right, because at the end of the day, if you're experiencing any of these three things: trust, abandonment, rejection, or self-worth, it's because there's something within yourself that has to be healed. Right, and we weren't
We don't know
able.
that though.
What do you mean?
Like we didn't know that then.
Oh, I
Like,
thought you meant like what? Like I thought you were like questioning. Like we don't know if
no,
what
we
she
know
said was
this.
true.
But we didn't
Wow.
know that then.
Right, right. Which is why we continued in a loop
Yeah.
until we were able to go through our own dark night of the souls. Right. So like in our journey, I pushed her into her dark night of the soul, to where she basically threw her hands and gave up and surrendered, which pushed her towards sort of her acts, if you will, which led to my own dark night of the soul, where I had to make the decision: is enough, or is enough not enough? And obviously enough wasn't enough. So she went through her dark night, I went through my dark night, realizing that it was our own inner issues, our own insecurities. My fear of not being enough was mirrored by her cheating, infidelity, whatever, back to me, so that I could fix it. And if you don't ever accept the responsibility for the action, you never can fix it. You're just going around and around and around. And you get into people in relationships that are in relationships and are married 7 times, going around and around, and we don't fix ourselves. And I think the other problem too in relationships is that couples are in relationships for 40, 50 years, and they just deal with it. You know what I mean? Right? Like
Hmm.
they just deal, and that's normal. And this is how it should be. Sort of brushing all of their inner healing that they need to do within themselves under the rug, so that and that's you see this portrayed in social programming on television, right?
Right.
The old man and the old married couple, and they're behaving like an old married couple, when it's the opposite of the truth. If you heal within, the relationship only blossoms, it magnifies, right?
Right. Like it made me think about the song when you said that, and the brushing under the rug with Mary J. Blige. What is it called?
Not gonna
I'm
cry.
not gonna cry. And I
It's my
remember
anthem.
that, yeah, we listened to that so because I was back then,
Not
and
together, separately.
yeah, and I
Just kind of weird.
and I would and I would listen to it, and it's like an empowering, like you're not worth my time. I get that, but it doesn't allow us to heal the part that is going through the pain. Like there's the side of us that's hurt, that's feeling pain, that we have to attend to, that we have to go, okay, like let me hear, you know your broken heart, like let me hear what you have to say. Why are you broken? Journal something. But instead, as a society and in songs, we're basically like, no, I'm just going to brush it off, and then you basically end up suppressing all of this emotion, becoming bitter, becoming this like bitch that just nobody wants to be around, and then you end up doing the cycle over and over again, and try and finding the same type of relationship, where the other person is stepping out, and it's because you're lacking confidence, and confidence in yourself. You're not filling your own cup, and so you're wanting somebody else to, like, look at the songs that are like, I need you to do this for me, I want you to do this, I need this, I need that. It's all coming from a
Yeah.
place of lack.
Yeah, you listen to the radio. We play this game. I actually played this game when we were talking about doing this podcast. Put any song on the radio, and if it's R&B or if it's whatever, there's always an aspect of either I'm gonna love you forever, girl, or I'm leaving you, girl, or or it's just about sex. But
There's
it's
never a let's go through this and fix it.
right.
Maybe the Stevie B, let's give it one more try.
Yeah, but still,
We know so many of them.
the songs, most songs, and this is again the social programming that we talk about all the time, is that the front end is about how great it is, and that's the easy part.
Yeah.
Right. The other easy part on the spectrum, breaking up, that's easy. Bye, bitch, I'm out. Like, screw you, you cheated on me, I'm out. I'm a real dude, I don't
You
put up with
run,
that.
you run.
Right, you run. And so, and no matter how much you don't want to run, you run, because that's what we do. Right, that's what we're taught, that's what we listen to. So all the songs are either about running away or how great it is in the beginning,
You
which
got your
is
friends influencing you by
right.
telling you,
Oh,
you're
girl,
going to
he
go
cheated
back to
on you.
that. What?
Yeah.
I would never let, yeah. And then
John B.
they're all by themselves too, the ones that say that. I think it's funny. What?
No, you didn't. I can't believe you said that. That was funny.
No, but that's usually
That's
like
true.
the single ones
Yeah,
are the
that's
ones
true.
saying don't be with him, but that's the ones that are, they don't have a relationship where they've endured, where they've overcome. I mean, let's mention the fact that today is our 7th podcast. And the number 7 is divine intervention. It is basically the crown chakra. It is the connection to spirit. It is spirit. And it's also forgiveness. And so think about, like, in the Bible, when, Jericho went around the wall 7 times, or around the city, and then the walls fell. All of that is divine intervention. And so I think it's awesome that we're talking about it today, because it's kind of like healing. That's why I wore this shirt, 333. I'm like, we need all the spirit guides here.
And that's why I wore my only purple shirt
all
that
my
says Athletic
angels.
Lab on it. Because you got to work out, right? You got to work on your skills.
You
You
got
got
to
to work
work
on your
on
emotional
yourself. You got to
self.
heal. You
Yeah.
got to heal. And so I think that, like, we went through so many. I mean, I was 16, you were turning 19.
18, 19, yeah.
Right. And so that's the age of exploring. That's the age of, what is this? What is that? And I don't think there was any bad intentions, but I think that we slowly had to see what infidelity was from all angles, and to really get to where we are now, and to be able to talk about it, because I think we went through pretty much everything except having a baby, right?
By another person?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That didn't happen.
That did not happen.
It
I'm
did not.
saying
It better
no, no.
not.
I'm saying that's the only thing that did not happen. So basically, what were you saying about infidelity?
I don't remember.
About society?
It's about it being programmed.
Yeah. Were you done with that?
For the most part.
Okay. So do you have an example of when you felt like, I can't anymore but I'm still enduring. Like, okay, let me give you an example. For like, this was a long, long time ago, and I think it was back then with those days, for you, um, because I was sitting there doing your laundry, and I remember going, "Why am I doing this dude's laundry when he's talking to another girl right now?" But the part in me that loved you was like, I want to do your laundry.
Holy shit. That's exactly what I was thinking right now. Continue.
And then, the angry part of like, why am I taking it and why am I doing this? Um, I had to talk, it was like a battle in my mind. And but yet I
Yes.
continued.
Because that's who you were. That's who you are. That's who you wanted to be. Right.
Right.
Yes. So what's amazing is I'm sitting here and I'm trying to think, when was that moment for me? And for me, um, I found out about a bunch of things at once, and it's just sort of threw me for a serious loop. But at,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
glad it's funny to you. At the end of the day,
I just couldn't think about it. So when I
holy.
did, I was like, oh shit.
So yeah,
Sorry.
she dropped a lot of bombs on me that day. I'm talking about like Hiroshima.
Right, because I meant to. I meant
Oh
to.
yeah, she meant to. She's like, oh really? You
You
is it
want to
really
get back
real?
with
Is it
me?
really real?
Let's
Let
see.
me drop this on you. See
Yep.
how you take it. Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay, all right, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks, but the conclusion that I came to was the same as yours, right? How did I want to react, right? My the way I wanted to react was I wanted to go out and find a girl and do my thing and get her back, because that would make me feel better in the moment, right? But I'm like, man, I'm tired of going around this mountain,
We
right?
played that revenge game back and
Yeah, I'm
forth.
tired of going around this mountain. Like, who do I want to be? Right. Like, if I am in this situation, fuck how I feel. It's not about my emotions. It's not about my ego. It's not about getting back. It's not about none of the negativity that the social programming wants you to believe is the way you should react. Who is Keith at this moment with this news? Who do I want to be 10 years from now? How do I want this story to go? Do I want to be the dude that goes out and finds a girl? Or do I want to be the dude that stands in his fucking stance, takes it because I've done everything to lead up to this point. I have created this fucking reality, this hell that I'm experiencing in this moment. I have to take responsibility for it if I want to grow and if I want to see if this is real, right? Because kicking back and clapping back and getting revenge, oh my God, it's only led me to this moment, and something has to change. And so for me, it was make a decision. I'm going to stand by her side until she tells me I no longer want you in my life as far as that. And the minute that happens, I will accept it to the best of my ability. I will be crushed, but I will move on and let her go.
Because I remember you saying, because I know that at least I gave it my 100%, and
Right.
I know that I tried, and I can walk away knowing that I tried and that I gave it my all.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I don't have a whole lot of friends because I have a very tight circle, and I'm just like that. I'm a Virgo. I'm not like that. I don't like to have lots of friends, but whatever. But if you had, most of the time the reaction is going to be like, man, she did that to you, she don't love you, man, like that, like, like just putting in a bunch of negative energy that they know nothing about, right?
Yeah.
So you have to make the decision from your point of view. And I think for me, framing it as how do I want my story to unfold? Because I mean, this was a big moment in my life. I was either going to walk away, or do something and continue the cycle, or I was going to stand and just take it, right? Go through the resurrection, for lack of a better term. And, that was my choice. And every time I was able to continue to make that choice, I got stronger and I got stronger, and it hurt less and I thought about it less. But I
It
think
still comes up.
you never forget.
Yeah.
Right. And I think forgiveness is tiered, right? Like, you can forgive someone, and I think you want to forgive them wholly, but you don't really, right? Like, there's so many, you're rolling your eyes upwards like, huh? But for me, this is how it worked for me.
Okay.
For me,
I mean, I can forgive somebody completely and just detach them, like energy gone, like no attachment whatsoever.
but I'm talking about like,
With you mean like forgiveness
yes,
with you?
forgiveness in a relationship.
Yes, I can forgive you. I'm not going to forget it.
That's my point. But in order for you to have that amount of like passion about, I'm not going to forget it, means that you're holding on to it in a way that's not just about forgetting. There's also,
No,
there's a
but
deeper
I
level of
also say
forgiveness.
that because I know after 20 years or so that we still aren't forgetting things.
Right.
So obviously we're not going to forget it. Like, obviously, that's why I say it
But
that way. But
the power of a memory and the inability to forget is
true.
is powered by an
Attached to,
emotion.
right, an
An
emotion.
emotion.
Hmm.
So what I'm trying to say is that, for me, like your level of forgiveness deepens as you forgive, right? And I didn't know that as it happened, but if you're going through this now, it will get better. It will get easier. Thankfully, and this is where discernment becomes such a huge part of if you're going through this. Throughout everything, I never, even though I questioned if she was going out or whatever. Not that that happened, but just as an example, I would not worry about whether I trusted her, but it was in the back of my mind. But I trusted her with my life, if that makes sense. Like, I know it deep down she cared about me and wanted the best for me. Um, Even if she hurt me, they didn't connect. Does that make sense? Like, I knew that I could trust you.
That at a deeper level, we still had each other's back.
Like, if I had to call somebody to have my back in the
Yeah.
middle of the night, you would be the one,
And I would call
regardless.
you. Yeah.
Right. And that never changed. So that level of trust was there. It was more so like the trust with my heart, if that makes sense. I trusted you with my life, but I didn't trust you with my heart.
Right.
And so,
And it took a while for you to open up, for you to really, really open up.
yeah, and that's part of the programming too, as a dude. I mean, like, dude, I went through scenarios, man, of like, oh, this I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. And I went through that in my mind. And thank God. I there's no real justification for that, right? Like, it's on me. Um, but that was an emotion that I went through and still do occasionally from time to time.
But look at how much you've healed from it, because you've
Right.
looked at your self-worth, you've looked at all those three universal fears that really you were mirroring.
Like, I can stand here straight up and confess that had you not done what you did, I don't know that I would be the person that I am today, in terms of the changes and the strength and the emotional confidence and just everything. Right. So,
Well, it takes somebody hitting rock bottom to really come out of it. I mean, if you haven't experienced a rock bottom experience, you can't really come on the other side and like, you know what I mean? Like, it just takes broken people to heal broken people. Like, it takes, we got that in a
so
movie.
true.
But I just think we would have gone through, if we didn't go through this experience on both ends, we just wouldn't understand it the way that we do now.
And believe it or not, too, if again, if you're somewhere in this journey and this has happened to you, if you experience this as a couple, like, it strengthens you it strengthens you so much that you have no idea how much stronger your relationship, trust, and confidence in one another will be when you start opening up for the reasons why you committed infidelity, right? Because the reasons why you committed infidelity, as I think, is not the same thing as what actually is happening in the other person, probably for the most part. So, like, what do you mean? Right? So, like, I'm over here thinking, is he better than me? Right? Like, he over here swinging. What's going on? When, if I talk to her and I'm able to open up and accept what she tells me, I'm going to find out it's because I wasn't giving her attention, right? Because I wasn't showing her affection, because I wasn't participating in her life the way I should be. And so he was. So it's not about any of that. It's about all the things that I failed to give as a partner. And she eventually had to look for it elsewhere.
And even then, that was still me not understanding that I needed to fill my own cup, and then I needed to love myself, and I needed to find, like, instead of finding somebody else to make me feel this way, or my attention or affection or whatever,
So
I was supposed to be doing that for myself. And I didn't get to understand that until I was by myself completely. And then I was like, oh, I have to fill my own cup.
So, real life example. Tell me what happened last night. This is a real life, perfect, so minute,
What happened
but
last night?
beautiful example of how to apply this in your day to day life.
Yes.
So I'm playing video games with Isaac. We're playing duos on Fortnite or whatever, and it's 8:30 on a Saturday night. Our daughter's out. She's thinking stuff. I'm spending time with my son because I don't get to do that often. Hit it. And
okay.
She has the option. She can go two different ways. So hit him with it.
So the old me, I'm like, let me get up in this mic. The old me, let me say this. the unhealed version of myself would have taken that and gone and ran with, okay, he's not giving me any attention, our daughter's not here and we could be doing stuff, a bunch of stuff. He's playing video games instead of spending time with me. Like,
he's choosing something else over me.
right. I could have gone down that avenue. Instead, I was like, okay, the healed part of me said, this is a perfect time for me to give myself some self-care, because right now he's playing with our son. This is great. Like, he missed out on a lot of years in his childhood, and he's making up for it now by getting to play with him, by being involved in his life, by all these good things. And I'm like, let me use this time to have some self-care. So I started doing my massage with my gua sha. I started doing a treatment for my hair, like a conditioning treatment. I took a hot shower. I meditated. By the time I was done with all my self-care, all my recharging myself, here he shows up. Would you like anything
Baby,
to drink?
you want some pancakes? You
he's
thirsty?
is you thirsty? You want anything? And it was like perfect timing. And I'm thinking, see, the old version of me would have never understood that and would have sat there and complained and then just ruined the experience. And now that I understand that I need to give myself my own self-care instead of looking for it elsewhere, everything just kind of flowed. And that's how it should be.
Yeah, and I think too, I mean, as above, so below, things only vary in degree, not nature, right? Like that decision was a microcosm decision. It was a moment decision. It was a, do I take this path, or do I take this path only in the moment? Earlier, I gave a description of, I had to decide, who do I want to be? Same decision. I'm in the now, but it's obviously a much bigger decision on a higher scale, but it's still a decision that I had to choose to acknowledge in terms of what life path do I want to take? Stand in my power and be responsible, or be not responsible and make poor decisions that I've already made in the past? Choose. We
And I
chose.
think a lot of it too was because you thought about, what would happen if I did go in this direction? And my psycho self would have just not allowed that.
Every time I was, not that I had options, but guys have no options. Girls have options for days, right? Like a girl can pick up her phone and have a dude over their house in an hour. Dudes, we don't have that power. Most dudes, I don't have that power. So that was never an option for me. What you got, man? I'm shook. What, what were we talking about? This happens every damn show.
Yeah, I think it's a theme.
So emotional.
Yeah, no. What was it about?
I don't know.
We were just saying it.
I forgot.
I wish I could just stop, rewind, and hear it, and then go back. But
oh my god, this is.
I'm not gonna do that. I know.
I have no clue what I was saying.
Wow,
really? We were talking about the decision.
That I can call somebody in a heartbeat and you can't. And
yeah. Oh yeah. So every time I thought about the poor girl, because if she found out I was seeing some other girl, and it doesn't matter the level of seeing, it was just having dinner with whatever, don't come over, that better not happen. That girl would have been like lit. It would have been an episode of Cheaters, like without cameras. You understand me?
And I think this from like past experience mixed with,
yeah, I got a few stories.
Yeah, the old me. I mean, I am from Miami. Let's keep it real. I'm Colombian, and the hood in me will always be there.
But beautifully enough, that's one of the things that I've always loved about her, is that she keeps me on a leash. And sometimes I'm like, yo, let go of that leash, man. Like, you keeping it too tight. But I like being on a leash, right? That's just me. And she keeps me on that leash. So that part of her that I knew would come out, I'm like, I can't put that poor girl through that. Like, oh my God, poor thing. Like I would feel so guilty, because I know it would happen. And that we've always talked about, what would it be like if we saw each other at a party with another person? How would that go down? And I think
based on just the dreams that we've had, and just me telling you, let me tell you the fight I got into with this girl in my dream, and and all of that added together, you're like, yeah, let's not go down that route.
Yeah, and we saw a funny Instagram post about, it was an Instagram video, and I don't understand why women, you know what I'm saying, right, have dreams about us doing things wrong, and you wake up actually upset with us because our dream selves. Too. Yeah, that's true. I do.
Oh my God. Look, you know what? We're going to do a podcast on what is it? Gender stuff. What's it called? On genders?
What do you mean?
Like your hair and
just
gender just genders,
Mhm.
period. Like in a
Just
relationship or not, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about genders, but the point is,
so you're saying we're going to talk about
yeah,
genders?
we're going to talk about genders. Again, I'm forgetting.
Okay.
I think that means that we should go. Like we should sum it up.
Don't cheat. But if you do, it's you. It's not the other person.
Oh,
Own it.
and it's something like most people don't stay with the person that they've been cheated on. They continue to another relationship and think that, but magically, oh, this person's different. But you're carrying that same energy and that same emotion that has been suppressed from not healing from it to this new relationship, therefore causing, by the law of attraction, you to create these realities where it can happen again because you haven't healed from it from the first time. So a lot of people just run away from their relationship thinking, okay, this isn't going to happen again, instead of facing it. And instead of, yes, there are people you should break up with, of course, everyone's here for a reason and a season and a time, whatever. But when there's a big, huge attachment like we have, um, you have to keep fighting for it. You have to keep forgiving and you have to keep fixing yourself. And then things magically will align with the person you're meant to be with. I mean, when I surrendered, I was like, I'm surrendering to whatever's meant to be, whether it's this person or this person, whatever it is. Because at this point, I'm just tired of trying to control things. And I was like, let it be to whoever it's meant to be. And it was
Did
you.
did you ever think that I would be who I am today? Back then?
You know what? You're so different. And I know that you wanted to be this person that you are. You just didn't know how. And the fact that like we didn't know that was going to happen, that you were going to come out from all that pain and change into who you've become. We didn't know. I mean, we both have changed so much because of this.
Yeah, I didn't think that we could be this way. I didn't think it could be this way.
But I mean, I didn't think also that we would be so entangled with those people that we have connected energy with, because sex is sacred, exchange of energy. What?
Continue.
Sex, sacred energy exchange, that's what it is. And when you have that, it's part of you and you bring it back, and so it's always there, and you have to learn to live with it. It's like an adapted DNA. You got to learn to live with it. And so are you strong enough to deal with it and to grow, even though you're entangled with all these different energies?
Yeah, it comes down, are you strong enough to surrender? It's just that simple. And it's amazing, kind of tying in, Reverend, please jump in. The story of Christ. He had all the power in the world to get out of that situation, but he had to surrender to the cross. And at the end of the day, that's a choice that, not only a choice that we have to make when we start it, but it's a choice we have to make every single day, because you're going to be reminded of your partner's infidelity. It's going to come up 17 years later, still coming up.
I mean, it's part of the duality. It's part of life. You have the yin and the yang, the spring and the summer against the fall and the winter. The same goes macroscopically above. If the sun above does not cross the constellation of the crooks, the cross, on December 21st, I have that high pitch right now, and it doesn't get crucified basically up in the sky and doesn't sit at the bowels of the earth for 2.5 days during that winter solstice, then it will not be reborn and climb its way back up to the spring. So basically, the cycle itself needs to have that death in order to have that rebirth. And we have to go through it. And if we're going to ascend, if we're going to have enlightenment, if we're going to have clarity, how are we going to better understand ourselves if we keep rejecting those things that we're running away from because we feel like we're going to, it's going to cause pain, when the pain is there to teach us something? The pain is a teacher. It's a lesson. And that's what we have to look at. It's like, stop running away from it and just look at it and face it and rise from it, because that's the point of the teacher of pain.
Yeah, and there's no way you can tell me that making the decision that I made, if we're not here, I'm still in a better place than I would have been otherwise, right? Because I know that I had the power to break the cycle, right? And we use this metaphor because our son likes chips. We take these bag of chips from like Chipotle, for example. I'm like, Joanna, don't eat a chip, because if you eat one chip, we're gonna eat half the bag of chips, or we're gonna eat the whole fucking bag of chips, and then Isaac's gonna have no chips. So you got to keep the bag closed and don't eat a chip, because the minute you start eating a chip, thinking that thought, making that phone call, doing whatever, or blaming or whatever, you're going down a path that we haven't built up the strength to eat chips, right? Like you have to build to that, and then you can eat a chip and put it in the bag away. You can't just eat just one. That's what Lay says, right? Joanna's rolling her eyes because she's like, dude, just finish it up.
Just finish it up.
But yeah,
you like, get the point.
forgive, choose to forgive in every moment. And it's a muscle, and you're only going to be a better person for it at the end of the day.
It is. All of this is a muscle. It's a way of teaching you, how to know thyself, and know thyself as in, how would you react? How would you, what would you do? How would you feel if this happened to you? And we get asked that question. I think they asked us this when we first got married, or we were doing the marriage, what is it called? Coaching, counseling, right? Like, oh, what would happen? Oh, no, we're fine. Like, really ask yourself that question and see what your triggers would be.
Yeah. And
because that's going to tell you what inside of you needs healing. Like, inner child work is for real something that people need to go through to heal from infidelity, because it stems from inner child roots.
Yes. And a thing I like to always think about is, and I tell her this all the time, under any circumstance, under a certain circumstance, a specific circumstance, anyone is capable of anything, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, that helped frame it in the fact that I'm not her, don't understand her. I'm never probably going to understand the depth of her experience. I can't, it's impossible, right? But under the right circumstances, forgive that person, because you, under that same circumstance, may have made the same decision. And you can't just put everything into that person's decision as if it validates you or defines you in terms of who you are or why they love you. Everyone makes a decision sometimes they do it for the best of their ability. Sometimes they do it for malice reasons, but at the end of the day, it's a decision they made to learn a lesson. And that lesson isn't about you necessarily. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but the dual experience creates the lesson, and it still comes back to you. It's your lesson to learn. It's your lesson to conquer.
Yeah. So I hope that in some way, shape, or form, this talk helped either with feelings of, I've been cheated on, or I've cheated on somebody, because, we both have cheated on and been cheated on. So we know from both sides of the story what it feels like. And so we're saying it as both a cheater and being cheated on. Hope that made sense. But to find ways to heal yourself, find ways to forgive yourself. That's a big one. I remember you saying once you opened up a can of worms, it was kind of hard to close it back. And
it's that, a cop out.
But at the same time, it's the can of worm that opens is all these emotions you don't know how to deal with, that you don't know what to do with. And slowly you have to face all of these things that came out, these snakes or whatever, one by one, and go, what is it that made this box open in the first place?
Yeah, and fellas, I meant to look on this before we got started, but you can add it afterwards. There's a guy on Instagram, and Joanna will post his Instagram handle, but he is, I believe he lives in Atlanta, but he's an awesome dude that talks about men and their emotions, and how men have been trained to hold in their emotions, not deal with their emotions, to be strong, to never be sensitive. And he helps men overcome that. He's written a book. Highly suggest you check him out. Make sure you add it at the end. I'll get you the info, but check him out. Super cool dude. He's helped me out just in the last 6 months, just staying focused and staying grounded and staying centered with, being comfortable and not reverting back to kind of the social conditioning that we've all been through from a gender perspective.
That's what we're gonna call it. Next one. The next podcast, gender perspective. Okay. Yes, like Do you think guys need to be the ones to throw out, take the trash out, or do you feel like
Oh, that's what we talking about?
just
Oh, okay.
genders,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
both sides
I'm down.
of the coin?
I'm down. We talk
Yeah.
about this with our daughter all the time.
Yes, she'll love it. Okay.
Peace. Nice.
Peace. Are we done?
Yeah, we done. Let's go.
Peace, guys. Thank you. Okay, let's go.
I'm ready.
You do me a lot.
Let's take.
Okay. Do I need to be more over here?
Nah, you good.
No, so that you could not go over the lights on.
What's that matter? Oh, all up in my face.
Ready?
Yeah, man.
We're moving. Put him down, put him down. Okay, what do you think? Maybe it's fine. You could put it here. This is a big one.
What?
This one.
I don't know.
All right, all right, all right.